40 minutes or so, we will have an answer. Let's cue into map number 2 between these two North American titans. On the line right now, Oxygen. If they take the lead and continue to push it, there will be a major spot awaiting them. Guaranteed, no matter what. The loser might be in a position where they have to fight their way through qualifiers, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's get into map number 2 first.
Here we are with the ban phase. We got Nomad taken out on Cafe. That's going to suggest, I mean, we'll probably see quite a lot of gridlock as a result, or at least a little bit of gridlock. The commute made that much more difficult. Ace, the other attacker banned, so the hard destruction is going to be slightly slower. You've got your Thermite, Maverick, and Habana still in play. Well, Mai on the defense, so peeling away all that explosive required defensive utility made easier. Final ban, probably an information op. You know, your Valkyrie, Maestro, Echo, or well, I guess not Echo because he's banned, or Mira, who is also an information op. It's going to actually leave quite a lot of tools on the information side, though, for SSG. They'll have the Maestro. They'll have the Valkyrie still available, even though the Echo is perma-banned. So ban phase done. Oxygen starting up on the defensive side. SSG starting on the attack. Now, because SSG picked Cafe, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that means that Oxygen got to pick the starting side. And here we are, which means SSG gets to pick the OT side, for those of you who don't know. I think. Am I crazy? Am I wrong, Parker?
I mean, you can be crazy and wrong at the same time, Michael. They're not mutually exclusive. But what I will tell you is that Spacestation will be defending twice if OT is required.
Okay, interesting. There we go.
There you go. This is SSG's map. OXG chose defense. SSG chose defense on OT.
Yep. So that's going to be solid there for SSG should we get there. It also means that I was mistaken, actually, in map number 1. I think I was... At least I think I was. So it's all kind of blurry. But I believe I said that Oxygen would be starting on defense OT because it was... because SSG picked attack on OT, but I was actually wrong about that. Oxygen would have been the one to pick it, so my bad. Anyway, kitchen defense first for Oxygen. This site is a pretty solid site. It is one of the 2 primary bomb sites for Cafe, most commonly defended. The middle sites get a little bit neglected overall on this map, and we'll probably see, well, we'll certainly see them later on, but...
Sounds like my childhood.
What? Yeah, why make that joke? you were neglected? Were you?
No, I wasn't, and Taro Mom did a great job.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Anyway.
She didn't take my allowance.
I don't think I got an allowance. But yeah, it is a kitchen. This is the most common bomb site on this map. And second best. Statistically.
Not bakery anymore, even though we fall back on old habits and bad habits, actually, from time to time. To call it a kitchen bakery defense, both the bomb sites are in the kitchen. And for any service workers here who have been slogging through this pandemic, A, thank you.
Thank you very much.
B, you will also know the ins and outs of the kitchen quite well. Sometimes I want to just bust it down and be like, oh, it's next to the rack and roll. Oh, you know, it's next to the... And then just use like kitchen specific terms. But then I realized, not the time nor the place.
And
just like that story, also not the time nor that place, but I still told it anyway.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, I've worked in a kitchen, and I don't even know what you just said.
We've bonded over our service and our tour of duty.
Yes.
In the service industry, so.
What a time that was.
Now, even though this is going to be the bottom floor, you're still going to want to clear top down, as you always find. And because of this map having 3 stairwells and their abundance of soft destruction that can happen on all the floors, including the various hatches, it's not uncommon for teams to put players up on that 3rd floor. In this case, they've all fallen off at this point, and we saw Fox heading for the hills with vertical not too far off. You've also got Lexing, who was able to escape. So Oxygen is likely going to fortify around the bomb site, and because kitchen is as big and as flexible as it's at, you can put 1 or 2 defenders within arm's reach. Maybe you'll have one inside a bakery or by prep, or possibly even by small bakery. You'll have one over here by Whiskey, which is where Vertical is playing. We also saw, but for a moment, Fox playing inside of VIP. So you've got a good spread, and you can retake when required. Laxing is over inside a coat check. There's a Maestro camera over by Whiskey. So this backside of the map is going to be quite covered. You're going to need to pick away at it from the 2nd floor, which is exactly why we see great hurry in Bosco's swinging as he goes to break a record for hammers per minute inside of mining.
He's not going to get anything out of that just yet. The only anchor that's really exposed is going to be Biologic, and he's not even spotted just yet. He's actually inside a bakery, so not exposed at all. I think he's playing with the wall reinforced. The key here is how limited the time is for the attack right now. Biologic gets the first pick. Rampy goes down. No answer back yet for SSG. Still an extensive roam on the horizontal for the defense. Bolts will shut down Laxing in coat check. He'll push into bakery, but lose the fight to Biologic. That's crucial, as now an entire plane of the attack is eliminated. Foxay gets Bosco as well over by the main lobby. Thermite's in sight somehow, and Slash will shut him down, but Oxygen, a nearly flawless round on the first of this map.
Cafe is still a map that tilts towards the defense, even though things have shaken up with a couple different maps here. The defenders are not at a decisive disadvantage, and I think that is what's worth noting. Now, OXG obviously getting a favorable pick on defense to start off with. This is where you're going to have to just go for it. You have to run up the score as best as you can. Not that you ever want to find yourself behind, but if you can carry that over, SSG is not a team that necessarily buckles under pressure, but we have seen cracks before where 1 or 2 rounds might be swung in your opponent's favor because of the psychological aspect of SSG trailing, and they need some time to adjust and get back into the game. This happened at Six Invitational. This happened at the Mini Major. This has happened as well previously playing against OXG. SSG are, of course, comprised of mortals and humans. And humans have emotions, and you can get emotional, as we've seen from SSG before, both that have benefited them and obviously have hindered them. So if Oxygen can take away one of the advantages that Spacestation has, which is that this is a good map for Spacestation, and of course it is Spacestation's map pick, you can set yourself up in a great spot for when you swap sides and you have the less enviable task of attacking against an SSG team. And SSG have shown weaknesses on defense before. So OXG have a great set of prospects in front of them to be able to put some of this map away in the early rounds and force SSG to play catch-up the whole time.
Now, granted, this map has been played less than Theme Park so far in Stage 2 of the US division, but it is also a slight... Ooh. Biologic accidentally impacting Slash, and to see who's standing right next to Slash, he'll also eat a chunk of damage, so just about 100 HP lost there. Maybe actually a little bit more. That's going to give us distinct advantage to SSG when it comes to future gunfights. As I was trying to say, slightly less defender-sided than Theme Park, so keep that in mind. And with the attack bans, Thatcher's still in, and I think that's one of the major factors that could favor the attack ever so slightly when you compare to the norm. Moving on from that, Cocktail Roam here. Clash put up front to try and hold off the onslaught from the main bar.
So the Clash will waste a lot of time, and you can see the new ping system in action. Fultz is very, very close to being involved in this, and more of Slash's HP will get just melted away as he's down below, close to the bomb sites, as it is a second floor defense. Don't be fooled, this is not a cocktail defense upstairs on this 3rd floor. Though we've seen it many, many times. Even though he's blinded, Vertical not doing any damage to Bio, but significant amounts of blood being lost from Canadian as he tried to drop on in from New Hatch. Pings coming out from the Lion scans, but still this Clash is going to be a major impediment. And so will the reinforcement, to which the Jaeger is playing behind. And Vertical knows this. He's relatively free to just play off of this spot. Canadian gets swept up from the back. No flank watch for Space Station, unfortunately for them. And Slash is going to be credited with that kill. OXG finds themselves up by 1. Grenade sails over towards the top of White Stairs, answered back by a gas canister, hucked out by Foxay, who now tries to do some damage with that SMG-11. You can see the noise that he can make with that gun. All the while, you still have the Ash trying to encroach upon the defense playing over by Cocktail.
Good stun there, but it might be too little too late. Actually, the smoke persists, and he uses the shield to take down Fultz as he'll transition downstairs. That is a huge blunder there for SSG. They lingered far too long on that Cocktail push. Oxygen now with a distinct man advantage, but the HP makes this salvageable for the attack. Don't count out SSG just yet. They'll also be starting to open up from above, and luckily for SSG, 2 of the last 3 attackers happen to be the hardest or soft destructors rather. Bosco dies as he tries to jump downstairs, and it's a second almost for Vertical, and he'll only do a fleeting amount of damage to Thinking Nade, who finishes him off. Only 20 seconds for the attack to launch their assault downstairs, and at least Rampy will get one. The stun working on Clash, but he can continue to use his zap to slow this push down. Rampy is the last attacker now, has to contest with not only a shield, but 2 guns pointed directly at him. A nice shot from Rampy, dying mag, but he'll get the shotgun out and no kill. Clash just waits the round and the last few seconds out, winning it for Oxygen.
Michael, I tweeted earlier today that were I to run for president, my first act would be to ban all shields from Rainbow Six Siege.
Yes.
And were I to do that, that round would have gone entirely different, and that's all the analysis that I'm going to do.
And you know, you're absolutely right, Parker. Had you been elected to be president, or had you made it through the process, then shields...
As a Canadian, mind you, which would have been the most impressive part.
Yeah. I don't know how you would have swung that, but I would have been very happy if you had banned shields. And it's all right, Parker, I'd love to be your running mate so that I could also get rid of the tinnitus and the loss of color that happens with explosions and low HP, and just overall improve the quality of life for all players in Siege.
Correct.
Can I do that? Can I be your running mate and make that my platform?
Intero Kicks 2024.
Let's go.
Would you vote for us? Intero Kicks 2024?
I mean, I wouldn't, but I still want the things that we want.
You wouldn't vote for us?
I have absolutely no experience in politics, so practically speaking...
Perfect! You can be president.
All right, let's go, everybody. Clap, clap, clap. It's already happened. Why not twice? Make sure to vote.
Oh.
Anyway.
Close enough. Close enough.
Anyway, so Oxygen setting up on a top floor defense, and we're going to stop the rambling now.
That was not rambling. That was perfectly on point. All of SSG... They crashed onto the Clash shores over by Cocktail, and obviously that is foreshadowing because, Michael, they are defending Cocktail upstairs. I was hoping for you to take the pass off. And
well I mean, I thought you were talking about, like, Clash again, but she's not here, so I was, like, confused. Like, what is he talking about? And then you said the top floor, yeah. Well, because you said crashed onto the shores of Clash, not Cocktail. So I was confused.
Yeah, but I said, where did it happen?
Oh, I didn't catch that. I didn't hear that.
We'll work on these. We'll work on these.
We got to rehearse these.
We did rehearse them.
Shh, don't tell anyone. I'm going to look like an idiot.
You see my haircut? I already do.
Oh, no. I like your haircut, Parker. You're too mean to yourself. Anyway, Pixel being defended here from Oxygen. They're going to try and delay this as long as possible. The delay has been a major factor, as I'm sure many of the astute among you have noticed. The sheer quantity of utility on the defense and the smart play from both defensive teams throughout the series has been a major factor. An aggressive peek there from Vertical will not net a kill for either team. You can see he's playing Warden inside of Pixel, and this will afford him the ability to deny stuns and make them actually work for him, as he could peek into a stun and have the advantage in an engagement.
They'll make their way into Cigar over towards Piano, or Christmas as Stokes and Blue refer to it as. This Warden setup is something that we've actually seen quite a bit of, as you'll have 2 shields. The other will be in the bathroom, but there's none here. Oh, a mystery, as Vertical will not have that second piece of cover at his disposal. Instead, he'll get droned out and find it. Both of the walls inside a bathroom reinforced, so he'll be protected and fortified inside that part of the map. 1 gas canister goes off a touch early, 1 minute in. Fox 8 kills Rampy, so there you go. Even the gas canister doesn't fell anybody. Canadian takes some damage, now Bosco will as well. Oxygen are perfect through 3 rounds on these opening duels, and the first blood can carry them quite far. Damage being done to Slash, and no matter what he does, Fox A is not capable of stopping those X-Kairos from going off. Laxing C4 connects onto Canadian, there goes the diffuser, but 2 kills from SSG levels the playing field to 3v3. 35 seconds remaining, and SSG are stacked up on the west side of the map. They will need to take from Cigar and from Piano. Laxing losing his head, or nearly, Slash shotgun out flattens Fultz, and he'll rotate over towards the front door of Back Bar Store. In comes Bosco, he'll look for a punish, thinking Nade gets one of his own. And now down goes the Maestro. No, Bio answers back, a great play, finally taken out, but thinking Nade has 15 seconds to go up against the 1 HP of Laxing. This is going to be another game of keep away, but Laxing has the cross from Bathroom, ever elusive as Laxing loves to play. A perfect cycle from Oxygen as they're up 3-0.
Quite possibly one of the longest chaotic rounds I've ever seen. It felt like an absolute marathon there. And despite that, a sprint the whole time. Curious to see that happen. Well played to both teams, to be honest. Could have gone either way, but at the end, it is a flawless cycle for Oxygen. Many things happening through that round. Chief among them, I believe, is the inability of SSG to force out Whitehall to work for them whatsoever, allowing Oxygen to continue to pivot around Freezer and backbar storage. That position persisting for Oxygen continually allowed them to maintain the man advantage in those team fights, or I guess the one very long team fight, as weird as that was. You don't see rounds like that very often, and I think that was one of the most entertaining rounds we've seen in a good long while. So thanks to both teams.
Long drag him out slobber knocker, Michael.
That is one way to put it. Yeah,
I believe
like
that's
that.
what we refer to them, Michael, in the biz.
The official terminology.
The official terminology.
Yes.
In the biz.
So that long drawn out slobber knocker, as we like to say, was definitely really great. But now Oxygen, decisive advantage here. A flawless cycle on Cafe, even though this is a defender-sided map, is actually pretty significant. I would have said it's even more common on Theme Park, and to see it here now on this map is really important.
So back down to Kitchen we'll go. OXG looking like a pretty standard lineup. They were all spread out before. They held that third floor, fell to the second floor, and then collapsed to the bottom floor very quickly. And in doing so, not just kept their lives intact, but were also able to punish SSG. And like I said, SSG have struggled. OXG is perfect so far, 3-0.
Mm-hmm. I want to note that angle from the Jaeger on the small bar next to big bar upstairs last round. I forgot to mention it, but that was crazy. That did at least 200 damage just from that one angle. A whole kill and then some before Bosco was able to nade off the Jaeger. Anyway, sorry. Small side.
Bandit tricking, not successful, but SSG gets their very first opening pick so far. Bosco gets treated to the vertical show. Up from that third floor, a longer range engagement for vertical to pull off of, but with that X-Kairos going down to the bandit tricking, Canadian will find himself with one less piece of that hard breach at his disposal. There is no secondary hard breach being brought from SSG. The operator bans allowed at least 2 more if they really wanted to bring them, but that is obviously not the case here. A stack up over by Bakery as another EMP will go off. This will disable the bandit batteries. Will we see any tricking? That's the real question. Yes, it is, but it's a miss. And oh no, a bad opportunity for the bandit of Slash. He's a little bit too far behind and they'll forfeit the wall. Opened up just like that. Slash, don't lose your head. He's got to rotate, and he'll continue to do that with the Malusi now possibly able to strike. There you go. Downs 1. A second is a possibility as Canadian will need to be brought back to life. Could we see OXG swing over in the same angle? There's Fox A2 kills. Slash gets in on it as well, and it was a beautiful bait with Slash finishing it off. Spencer Oliver, the man so nice, they named him twice. OXG are up 4-0 here on map 2.
Beautiful push there from Fox A and Slash. We only got to see what Laxing was attempting to do in Red Hall, but we know that the results were beneficial for Oxygen. Overall, despite Slash not being able to hold the main bakery wall, he still did a great job as a bandit. For those of you who didn't catch it, when Bandit was denying the prep wall, that first Habana Excaro set, he also called out that Habana was outside of the bakery door. Now, it wasn't Habana who actually ended up dying to that call, but Vertical, that's why he peaked Piano. It was timed in conjunction with the set of Hexcaros that Slash called out. So well done there. Good teamwork for Oxygen to get that first pick. Following that, despite the success of the hard breach, there was a distinct lack of control from SSG on Mini, or Small Bakery, as many will call it. Because of that lack of control, we saw not 1, but 2 flanks from Oxygen, resulting in significant amounts of damage being done to SSG inside a bakery. On top of that, as those flanks were coming out, they were being timed with the push in through the main site and the challenge through the breach itself. Oxygen just winning, just being better on their gunfights in those moments. SSG seriously struggling on the attacking side, and now we have a very decisive 4-0 for Oxygen.
They have won the half, so even if they drop these 2 rounds here, Space Station are still not going to be able to claw it back, and will need to do so when they go onto their defense. The only bit of good news for Space Station is that if SSG put those 2 rounds in a row, there is no momentum in this game. When we use the word momentum, it is purely in a team or player's head. But SSG will have momentum at that point. They take 2 rounds, side swaps. Yeah, it might be a bit of a breather for most teams. Man, words are hard.
It's a good thing we don't have to do it for a living.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't need to speak for a living. But anyway.
Imagine.
Couldn't be me.
No,
so,
but it happens.
Both teams would get a bit of a breather. It would be a bit of a reset button, but still SSG would be feeling pumped about that, and it would be a small moral victory for the team to show they can go toe-to-toe, since really, stat-wise, they don't have a lot to be proud of here on Cafe. OXG is eating their lunch.
And I'm sure that SSG is not happy about it. That will make for them probably a really uncomfortable stomach situation moving forward. I, for one...
Queasiness.
Yeah, queasiness, a little bit of a gurgle.
Nausea.
Yeah.
Heartburn.
Loss of balance.
Or indigestion.
Yeah, all these little layers that Oxygen are now inflicting on SSG. Anyway, gas canisters being used on Pixel to delay. Now, this is just because Oxygen is trying to bleed more than they bargained for half round mark. As you saw on Theme Park, generally, half the round is wasted by the vertical roam. Here, normally, it's the same story, but Oxygen, the last time they were defending the middle site, and now this time, once again, are trying to get more than half the round. They're whittling it down to now a minute. Rampy wins the fight as Fox8 checks on the east balcony. Is there anyone there? The answer is yes. SSG now with the man advantage are probably pretty happy about the way that Oxygen decided to play this roam. And in fact, Oxygen will fall back at the 1 minute mark exactly and lose Biologic in the hallway. A huge kill. It'll be answered at least by Vertical, but still SSG maintains the advantage. And on top of that, the shield, the clash is lost. Drone thrown in. Spotted is the rush by Vertical, and Rampy shuts it down.
You don't need to take that.
You don't need to take that for sure, but Rampy certainly did, leaving just Laxing and Slash now. Laxing will be called out on the white staircase, forced back to the site. And we're down to the last 30 seconds here, but still such an advantage for SSG in terms of man count, it probably doesn't really matter. The push from Laxing will actually give away the push from Slash later in the round, and now the white stairs lost to Oxygen. Plant goes down all the while. Despite Canadian's death, this is still such an advantage for SSG and should be an easy post plant. What a shot from Slash, though! Not a follow-up as Rampy stays alive on the east balcony. He's done such significant work from that position through the round. Faults somewhere else entirely. Doesn't really matter, though. Laxing has to contest with Rampy before he can do anything. He'll start an attempted defuse disable. 3 seconds left. The stun will get him off, and Fultz gets the kill. Rampy with a huge round. Fultz to back it up, and SSG one more of those continuous action rounds to end this first half, or at least to get us one round closer to ending this first half. We've got one more to go.
I suspect we're going to see overtime here, and I'm going to call it. I will become a prognosticator. I said, you either die here or live long enough to see yourself become a prognosticator. I think that was...
And you become one, haha.
I think that was in a movie. Anyway, this is where I think SSG begins to figure it out. Why? Many key mistakes made in that round by OXG. Fox8 did not need to peek. He could have just stayed in that position. He was all out of canisters. I get it. That's an engagement you take when you're feeling good. Fox8 and Slash have been in a power struggle as to who has been the more impactful player for Oxygen so far today. They both can make a claim to it for various rounds and for various reasons. But Fox gives his life away for really no reason. Vertical goes for a hero play out onto the balcony with no intel. When you're already trailing in numbers, you don't need to do that. And just like that, there were 2 fights and engagements that OXG took that they didn't need to take. Fox8 very easily could have escaped through the hatch with the clash, retaken white stairs, and Rampy's position outside on that balcony would have forced Rampy to eventually take that reading doorway where Vertical was playing. Vertical could have held that and waited. Yes, Oxygen would have given up control of that 3rd floor, but you even said it yourself. The strategy of Oxygen was to waste as much time as possible and then get away. You had half the round to go. You've wasted 90 seconds at this point. Oxygen, for the love of God, get back to the bomb site. Play safely, play smart. They did not play smart in a number of instances in that round, and SSG exploited every single weakness that OXG showed them.
Yeah, crucially, they did not get away. It was,
yeah, they didn't get away with any of it.
Yeah, no. So well done to SSG, as you mentioned. Well played. Now, that's the one round that SSG needs. This next round is the round that SSG wants, and it'll be on a defense of the top floor for Oxygen. Very aggressive setup here from OXG overall. You can see Foxay playing exposed to the skylight, but he's got that little bit of cover of the minibar there. Nobody on the skylight, luckily, for Foxay. Bakery, though, pressure for Fultz. He spots Foxay as the transition comes out. Timing is weird there, and he doesn't actually get Fox on the cross. A little bit of damage done, but at least the Jaeger makes it back to the bomb site. He'll have a gun up for future engagements. And Fultz even actually took a little bit of a scuffle in that fight and took some damage as well.
Just some scuff marks on them, that's all. They're just they're racing stripes, Michael. They're just racing stripes. They're for aerodynamics. On an Ash, everybody knows that when you take 25 damage on an Ash, it upgrades you to a 4-speed.
Yeah, so she gets faster the more damage.
Full throttle.
Zoom zoom.
Zoom zoom indeed. There goes the deployable shield in front of Vertical. He'll have to fall back to the bathroom yet again, but the wall appeared to be double reinforced, so it's the same setup that we'd seen previously from OXG. I mean, it worked very well for them. They might as well stick with what worked, even though it did come down to a 1v1 at the tail end, if I recall correctly. Great entry from Fultz. They'll lose Bosco in the process, and then Fultz as well, but Thinking Nate has the answer. They might be able to retrieve them. Cross being held by the Zofia on repel of Rampy, and Fultz and Bosco looking to get picked back up. Oh no! Foxay pops out of nowhere and takes 2 with them. He'll drag them down to hell before Thinking Nade says no thank you. OXG now still trailing. Technically even. If Bosco gets picked back up, that's when they lose the man count. Rampy's position from over towards heaven. Well, now he's on the skylight, and he's going to watch that bar back storage. Thinking Nade will be the one to pick up Bosco, and there he goes. No withstand available for the sledge, of course. A reload from Biologic with 40 seconds left. He can mow everybody down, and a bullet or two will kill both Bosco and Thinking Nade. He just needs to stay alive and not venture too close to that skylight. Still drone work and discovery being done by Space Station as they've got the diffuser in the hands of Thinking Nade. Frag grenade goes off, and Bio takes a bit of damage, but not that much. He can reposition. Laxing is going to be the question mark. Where is he? That's what needs to be answered. Bio goes down, so Laxing C4 will connect. It was pre-placed, but we're going to need to see more from the Malusi. Wins the gunfight against Rampy. Thinking Nate is totally vulnerable. He's planting in the default spot. Laxing sprints on over. It's going to be a chase through the back bar, and Laxing wins it! Goodness gracious, what a play by Oxygen. He has some fun with Thinking Nate, and he'll need to grab that diffuser. 30 seconds left and plenty of time. This half, 5-1 for OXG.
Laxing must have sprained his ankle in the middle of that clutch as he struggles to get to the diffuser. No matter what, though, a beautiful round from Laxing. Oxygen as a whole coming up big. It got a little bit scary there when Biologic died in Cocktail, but the constant aggression, the lack of relief for SSG was monumental. And this kill right here, where Laxing manages to get Rampy, that sealed the deal. Thinking Nate at that point in the 1v1 was on a sliver of HP, and Laxing was able to finish off Thinking Nate with 1 shot. There was almost no chance for Thinking to win it overall. What a round from Laxing. Beautiful stuff. I loved his C4 from below as well. He pre-placed it before transitioning over to the white stairs, and that's what allowed him to take out one of the attackers as they attempted to push up on the big bar to cover that plant attempt from Thinking Nate. Really the star, though, Foxay. Again, the unrelenting aggression from Oxygen. He saw 2 players were down. He went for that push. He managed to get 2 of the attackers. Oxygen, a 5-1 half. That's significant. That should afford Oxygen a huge advantage now in the second half, but also, honestly, they should be able to carry that forward into an absolute map win and a series win to boot.
This would be an absolutely mammoth comeback from Space Station if they were able to get 5 rounds on their own. Now, I said that I predicted overtime. I, right now, look like I'm wrong. SSG had some issues on their entry. They got cooped up, and yes, there's 3 rounds in particular that were won by some very crafty, well-called flanks by OXG. Whether that comes down to reflexive shot calling or whether that was a deliberate strategy, as we could see that oftentimes OXG were not moving alone. That one kitchen take from SSG that was answered by Oxygen, the bloodlust inside of Bakery, the brouhaha in Bakery, whatever you want to call it. That was very well orchestrated by OXG, and it could have been on the spot shot calling, but it certainly didn't look that way. It looked like it was premeditated, and that is obviously going to fall onto the leadership of OXG. And whoever called that one out, whether it be Hopes or Redeemer, as OXG does have 2 very capable coaching members of their coaching staff, that's going to be a question that I'm sure we're going to see answered by Jackie in the interview if OXG prevails. And they're 1 kill closer to doing just that, as Rampy engages by Red Hatch. Down he goes. Canadian breaks his donut in round number 7. He finally gets onto the scoreboard with a jump out onto Foxy. Bosco won as well. So aggression be thy name here on Cafe Michael. Neither of these teams are going to give an inch regardless of what side of the map they're playing on.
Nice kill there from Slash, though, to get Fultz inside of pillars. Fultz a little bit too exposed. When his team has the man advantage, you really got to focus on turtling up and playing that advantage. Now it's nice and even. Still could go either way. Based on the coming engagements on the top floor, you could see that 2 of the 3 defenders are still upstairs for SSG. They're trying to delay. Might not be the right call, though, given the fact that we've got now a very sizable chunk of time spent and the knowledge the attackers have of the presence upstairs. They're actually just going to focus on the site. You can see that Oxygen has given up on trying to clear the entirety of the top floor, and instead they're going to leave flank drones for their dead members to watch so they don't get flanked above, and instead transition all of their focus to actually executing on the site itself.
The waiting game for the final minute here of round number 7 for SSG to try to knock Oxygen off of their hot stride so far. For OXG, it would be a great beginning and a match point situation for them, which would allow them lots of room for error for the remainder of this map and what could be remainder of this match. But Bosco is referred to as the clutch minister for good reason. He takes down Slash, finds his 2nd kill. Toxic Canister takes a tiny bit of damage to none other than the gridlock of Laxing. He gets finished off by Thinking Nade, and it certainly seems like we're going to need a lot more here, as only 1 kill for Bio. He gets met punishingly by Bosco. 3 kills for Dylan Bosco, and SSG wins their very first defense.
Big ups there to Bosco and as a whole SSG. Solid defense, and that's a really important start there to the second half. You need to take an absolute loss on the first half and turn it into something a little bit better. So that's going to be, as you mentioned, the in your head momentum blunted slightly there for Oxygen. Big ups again to SSG. A big part of that, I think, was the fact that when Oxygen transitioned from the top clear, because they decided it was just too intense for them upstairs, they transitioned too slowly, allowing SSG to rotate off of their top stairs roam and come back to hold the site. That gave all the crossfires to SSG and thus all the advantages in the engagements. Those crossfires are what you saw be so prevalent for the defense in the end of the round and end up getting the win off of the back of that. Now, I still think that Oxygen made the right call transitioning off the top clear. There were 2 defenders upstairs. If they had just committed a little bit faster to the site take, I think it might have been successful, but that didn't happen. And what ifs are only what ifs. So, moving on, SSG building a little bit of their own mental momentum. We'll go to the basement for their next site.
A little bit of Europe still rubbing off on you to call it the basement. It's the first floor, Michael. It's kitchen. It's the ground floor.
Sure.
We'll agree to disagree. That's fine.
No, I mean, I'm not disagreeing. I mean, it doesn't really matter. The bottom floor, whatever you want to call it. Interestingly, the prep wall was not reinforced. Am I mistaken, or am I just, is it the pixelation of our feed?
No, you are absolutely correct. The prep wall is as soft as can be.
That is super odd. And they didn't reinforce freezer either. Those reinforcements must have gone upstairs to assist the roam. That's my guess. And work in tandem with the mute jammers to delay the information gathering of the attack, but also to potentially get some kills.
SSG are trying to present an opening towards the front of the map while doubling up on their defense of the back, particularly the freezer with the 2 walls inside of dining being reinforced and the hatch open for thinking need to be able to drop. And I don't know if that's a Valkyrie camera or not, but regardless, almost a kill on behalf of SSG onto vertical above. The C4 misses, but OXG does not. And yet again, another opening duel for OXG. They've won all but 2 so far in this very critical map, where the winner, once again, will represent NA at the NA Mini Major. There will be 4 teams that will be competing in it ultimately, but the first team will be crowned today, and OXG is hoping to do it yet again.
Despite the fact that SSG are on defense, I still say that this is a test of OXG. Canadian trying to fight with the stuns. He predicts the push and misses the shots, but Vertical won't miss his. And Oxygen, a 2-man advantage, and still plenty of time to hit the site. SSG now are going to have to struggle really hard to get themselves back into this round. As I was trying to say, I think that the pressure is really on Oxygen to prove themselves a team that will not choke. And I think right now they're doing just that. Round's not done yet, but this round certainly looks like match point for Oxygen.
They are certainly rising to the occasion, as now there's some successful bandit tricking from Bosco as he nets all of those X-Kairos that have been used, and that will obviously frustrate Slash, who then gets paid in kind by Thinking Nade. Not great. 40 seconds left, and the very first casualty from Oxygen. Will it knock them off kilter? 2 members of Spacestation barricaded over by Bar and Whiskey. They'll have to try to take over towards the bakery side where we see the positioning of the Oxygen members. SSG have been corralled in the back of Kitchen. The execute will likely happen in the front of Kitchen, but you've got to be wary of that control on that second floor. 20 seconds left. Oxygen are going to fall victim to this clock and will have to just rush into the bomb site with sights trained exactly at their head level. They miss though, and Biologic takes some damage. A kill for Laxing, answered back by Bosco with 2. He drops. Diffuser is down. Somebody's going to have to plant. 5 seconds to sprint on in. Vertical will do as he does best. It's all on Narampi. Where is he with the Nitro cell? He gets finished off by Foxay. Match point for Oxygen. They've got SSG on the ropes.
Incredibly close round there. Foxay on the marathon. He was above, transitioned to Red Hall to get the cutoff. But crucially, as Bosco was killed inside of Kitchen, there was no direct influence, and Vertical was able to get that diffuser plant. Despite Bosco's efforts in stopping the push out of prep, Oxygen just had such a significant man advantage already that there was not enough gas left in SSG's tank. Beautiful try there for Bosco again. Again, though, just not enough. So, Oxygen, match point, huge round there. It actually looked like they were about to let it slip by, but not so. Oxygen solidify it, and now SSG has to win 4 rounds in a row to avoid being 2-0'd by Oxygen. Now, it's not going to knock SSG out of this group. They're still in the winners group. They'll be descending into the lower bracket of the winners group, but at the same time, SSG only needs to win 1 matchup in order to qualify for that major, and they will get to play the other loser here today, later down the line, if SSG loses. We're not there yet. It's just looking very likely.
It's going to be an interesting second match that we watch, and I'll be there with you in the stands, cheering. Not for any team in particular, because I am not a biased caster, Michael.
Yes.
I'm sure it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun overall. I'm looking forward to it, certainly. I think that this map and this match as a whole, this has given us some pretty intense gameplay thus far. Both of these teams, the one thing I'm noticing most is neither Oxygen nor SSG is really backing down, and I'm really impressed by that, because it's super uncommon to see both squads go toe-to-toe and just be completely unrelenting. I think both of the teams realize how much, I mean, every team right now in Rainbow Six realizes that with how vital utility is and how you need every flashbang, how you need every body, how you need every bullet for opening up parts of the floor or parts of the wall, etc. The most important thing you can get is the opening pick right now. It has always been that case to a certain extent. If we can go actually look at Rampy, who might be looking to strike, I don't know. Uh-oh.
He's down below. I don't think there's anybody that's actually there that he could possibly catch, but he was still lurking. And
yeah.
I mean, you can cue the Jaws theme song as that's... Well,
Foxy did get on repel, and it's probably going to be called out to Rampy, but he's actually not in a position to do it anymore. So, well, he would have done it. He could have done it.
Yeah.
Anyway, stakes involved.
Oh, there's your opening pick from Slash. He takes out Fultz. Bosco taking some damage now. Vertical is traded off inside a piano. Can somebody get to him in time? Toxic canister lingers but won't do enough damage. Another one might be thrown appropriately. You have to try to get Vertical back up as the diffuser is dropped. That's just both keys being on the same button. And there you go. Vertical manages to get away from it. He's going to be walking wounded with 1 HP. SMG 11 out playing inside of the bathroom, but no. Thinking Nate on the Goyo is able to just be better than him. There's 2 shields for his protection, but if they blow up, there's going to be fire on the other side. Hellfire, if you want to call it that. 1 minute remaining. There goes an Ash charge tossed on out, and the Hibana trying to pick away on the ping that is inside of Piano. They know that they've got the Goyo isolated to a certain extent, and they'll flash behind the shield. But Thinking Nade will need to swing in order to make something happen. Bio has been dispatched somewhere else. SSG have a very firm upper hand on this round for the moment, but there's still time left for OXG to be able to pull this off.
Thinking Nade's contributions thus far cannot be understated. He has delayed the entire attack. Not only that, but he's gotten a kill in the process onto Foxy. He's going to continue to delay this attack. We're coming up against the last 25 seconds, and Oxygen has almost no chance of executing onto the site. As the shield detonates, though, Thinking Nade will be caught in his rotation by Biologic on the East Repel. SSG now with a man disadvantage, but look at the HP on Slash and Vertical. It's unlikely they'll be able to win any gunfights. SSG just need to wait, and that's a big kill. Vertical goes down as he pushes out of Cigar. An aggressive push here for Rampy. He's looking for some picks on the flank. He'll get that pick. Laxing now the last attacker, but he can't get anything done as the time will run out. SSG win a big defensive round and keep themselves in this. 3 more for them to go.
Well, all of OXG's push fell apart in the spot where we often see attacking teams do just that. Over by Piano and over by Cigar. They couldn't make their way out of Cigar in particular. And the biggest culprit of that was none other than the Goyo, who's playing off of Pixel, as you very wisely pointed out. Now, Zofia would have done a great job after they'd burned out the ADSs. Lamai is banned, so you don't need to worry about him. But you don't have anything to blow up that shield, and by the time you finally got that shield blown open and you took out Thinking Nade, you'd already had significant damage done to 2 separate members of OXG. You'd lost a member of OXG, and most importantly, you'd lost 2 minutes and 20 seconds off of the clock. That is the much bigger issue. That was just OXG not having enough tools for the trade. Now, if you look at their lineup, they haven't really changed anything. So with the exception of the IQ, they might be able to pull something off with this Thatcher, but depends on where they're going to pressure this second floor defense by SSG. Like teams have come to know and love, they're going to defend on the 3rd floor, even though the bomb site is a floor below. All of those openings will allow the defenders to retake and stop in a post-plant situation. But that can also work against the defenders, as we've seen teams try to defend on the default plant spot inside of the B-bomb site in Reading and get blown to pieces from those holes that have been opened up.
You know, interestingly, the vertical for both these teams, both maps so far, hasn't actually been a major factor. And that's why I find that curious, because typically it is.
Oh.
What is a major factor is Foxy getting picked off by Fultz on a run out on the main lobby window by... That is... Okay, so that's going to change a lot here. You just got rid of one of the major soft destructors. In fact, the only primary soft destructor in terms of physical soft destruction, not explosive. And that is going to seriously hamper the vertical pressure that Oxygen can apply. And while I did just say that it wasn't as significant as it usually is, it's still a major factor. At least Oxygen does have a set of breaching charges on Biologic. So if they should get control of the top floor, they could still do something, just not as much as they might hope for.
Oh, almost. Slash is not able to finish up on Canadian. There he goes. What a play and a great shot from Slash as he finds kill number 11. His patience rewarded. Canadian, after a stellar performance on Theme Park, has fallen off substantially when it comes to the second map. Not playing quite up to snuff and probably falling below his own expectations in terms of the scoreboard, but still providing a good point of leadership for him and the rest of his team. And he'll be a focal point despite the fact that he's only found 1 kill so far on this map. Half of the round has been expired at this point, and the second floor is OXG's, or at least the part around the bomb site. Valkyrie camera spotted his intel that's taken away, and Fultz is primed to jump out of the door and reading and lay the smacketh down on anybody playing by pillars.
And there it is. Fultz gets his second, but he finally gets smacked himself. Laxing a good refrag there, and he will be in turn refragged by Rampy, who pushes up on the big bar. But Vertical not letting the pressure go out. SSG and Oxygen toe in toe. 40 seconds left. Oxygen has dining control, but that doesn't amount to very much considering these holes that have been opened up by SSG. And as Rampy gets these last 2 kills, it'll actually be another successful defense for Spacestation. We move ever closer to an OT grab.
Very strong performance from SSG in the way that they're holding this map control, and OXG, dare I say it, are starting to flame out and will need to find something. Now, the good news with going up to a 6-2 as soon as they did was that they had 4 rounds to be able to fix this.
Yeah.
You've got to right the ship, and you've got to do it very quickly because now you've only got 2 rounds left. Back down to Kitchen, where the only attacking victory from OXG happened. And it came down to the final seconds, if you recall, as the diffuser was being planted by Vertical in the default spot inside of the main kitchen, and it was Fox A covering from the back, killing Rampy the Malusi that was playing by the freezer. Now, even then, SSG's defense was quite formidable. The way that they were able to hold Whiskey, the way that they held that second floor, the setup that they had, that OXG struggled with. I mean, it even confused you, the fact that prep wall was left soft. Those 2 reinforcements were instead used on the dining wall above with the hatch opened up, allowing very easy access towards the back of that B bomb site. Well, SSG are going to do things a little bit differently this time. They're going to reinforce the 2 walls in prep. And most notably, they are not going to try to bandit trick. So if there's going to be any destruction done on those walls, there is not an operator that can stop it with the exception of an impact grenade, which you can see is absent from SSG's lineup, or a well-tossed nitro cell. That's the only thing that's going to impede Slash from being able to open up these walls. I suspect that SSG is like we saw with that prep wall. They're going to let them take it. And then SSG are going to play far enough back, holding angles on the second floor and the first floor, that once again will kill time for OXG and force Oxygen to run on into their death.
Currently, we have a very thorough horizontal roam from SSG. They extended themselves into Whiskey and VIP over on the... Okay, the compass isn't working. But over by the left, or your right of your screen right now, where Canadian is playing right now, he's going to be able to stay there and delay any push on the white side of the building. Further, he can play long angles in the red hall to deny any kind of added dimension to a linear bakery assault. Right now, Oxygen is committed to a full clear. There are no vertical roamers that I noticed, so it should be a pretty easy clear. And because of the commitment to a top clear, you'll see SSG actually rotate some of their utility. They fell off of VIP, brought the Wubs and the ADSs back into the site to help the anchors later in the round. That's smart stuff there from SSG.
It's been a slow round, as we expect that for the remainder of Cafe. If Clubhouse is needed, it'll probably start off exhilarating, and obviously anything that is slower than what we've seen through the first 10 rounds will seem like a glacial pace. We've both commented on how these teams are being as aggressive as they are. And matching firepower with firepower seems to have worked for both Space Station and Oxygen as these teams have gone back and forth. Every single round was needed on map number 1. It certainly seems like SSG is finding their footing in overtime, as I'd predicted in round number 5, and then look like a fool right after, is becoming more of a possibility.
Certainly. In fact, it's looking very likely at this moment. Oxygen have good control here at least. Those ADSs that were rotated earlier being a major factor. Look at that. And he could have shot them. He had the angle, but he's going to just go ahead and clear it with the stuns just to be thorough and quick. He'll get rid of one of the evil eyes instead of the shield, but still damage done. Utility peeled off. And now SSG are starting to struggle finding places to be safe in their own bomb site, thanks to this vertical pressure that's being applied.
Bosco takes some damage from the Goyo shield that had blown open, but he finds safety by the rack and rolls, a term I can actually use. Inside a whiskey, thinking Nate has a nitro cell primed and ready for the brown stairs. Gunfire going off, and there goes the nitro cell, but it's a little bit too soon. Slash breathing in some smoke as he tries to go for a plant. He's going to move on over. There goes the smoke again, but Slash should be able to stick this as it looks to miss. Objective is successful, but no, the IQ can't cover from the back. Rampy takes him out instead. There goes Thinking Nate, and Fultz has taken a beating as well, but OXG have the control that they want. There's a second kill for Canadian on this map as he's lording over them from above. He's going to need to reload, as well as having the Malusi up top. There's one for Vertical. OXG regains the numbers advantage, but then loses it right away as Vertical gets dropped. Laxing takes one out, and Fultz is shut down by Slash. OXG are the first team to qualify for the mini-major. You can see it in the background. Slash is amped up. He's had one of the best games in a long time. And with it, it propels Oxygen over SSG 2-0.
A monumental win there for Oxygen. As you mentioned, Parker, you get